Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and I'm standing in front of what is going to be our new wood yard. To make it into a wood yard, I've got quite a bit of work that needs to be done. And step one is getting this tree all cut up and sorted into big firewood rounds, smaller diameter firewood logs, and brush that just needs burned. So I'm going to do most of that work with the Artillian Grapple on the tractor because I think it does a better job than the skid steer at picking up that type of brush. But the first thing I'm going to do is get these really large logs out of here that probably weigh 1,500 pounds or so, and that's right at the lift capacity for the tractor, and I don't want to stress it with that sort of thing. So I'm going to get the big stuff out with the skid loader, then I'm going to start cutting the tree up and moving it out with the tractor. But before any of that, I'm going to start a fire right up there on the burn pile so that anything that needs burned can be burned as I go. Should be a fun day. We're only high of 89 today. That's the coolest day we've had in about a month, so still going to be hot, but I'm going to try to take advantage of this slightly better weather. That'll probably burn some of that dry stuff off the top, but to get these huge stumps lit, I might need a little diesel fuel. Okay, so the fire is taking off and doing pretty well, so I want to go ahead and feed that before I start cutting. So right here, if you remember the video where I used the backhoe to pull out a bunch of bushes, that's those bushes. They're ready to be burned. And then 3 days ago I had a tree puller video, and the trees I pulled are sitting right up there. Nothing's over about 5 inches, and so I'm just going to put all that on the burn pile with the tractor real quick. I just went down to pick up those trees that I pulled out with the skid loader, and actually there might be a few chunks in there that are good enough for firewood, so I'm going to take the time to cut that up and save the good parts and then burn the bad or the smaller diameter stuff. But before I go down there, I wanted to watch this for a minute, make sure it wasn't gonna get out. The best thing you can do is burn all the grass off around your fire pit so that you don't have to worry about that. But there's a lot of green around it, so I think we're gonna be all right. So basically, these 3 sticks right here are what I saved out of that for firewood. Not much, but I guess every little bit helps. And on the fat end, that one's about 5 inches. That's big enough to save. I think we're about ready to start on the big tree now. This is where you need 2 people so that as I'm cutting, someone can pull out of my way and I'm not on and off the tractor. But that's not the reality. You guys aren't out there with the second person probably most of the time either. All right, I'm gonna go up to the house and get something to drink. Need you guys to keep an eye on the fire. Don't let it, get out and get into the brush. all jokes aside about the fire, really don't want to put any more on it for a while. So I'm going to cut this up, but before I drag the loose brush off, I think I'm going to deal with that heavy section that's still kind of hanging up in the air. It's got some stored energy, presents a little bit of danger. So I'm going to cut a little bit of this off. And I'll probably drag that out with the skid loader and manage it separately. Well, I thought I was going to make it through a whole day without pinching my bar, but I was expecting that branch to drop, and I didn't look at it close enough. It's got some pressure upward at the back end, so I should have finished that cut from the bottom. If I can put just a little bit of pressure, underneath one side of it with the grapple, I should be able to pull the saw right out. So this is the part that I'm not crazy about. It's got this kickstand up here, which is supporting a lot of weight up in the air. And then you've got this weight here on the ground. At some point when you're cutting up there or when you're cutting down here, that weight could flip and it could fall when you're not ready for it. So I'm gonna just drag this out of the way and probably roll it over so it's easier to deal with. Now, if we look at the top of that tree, not many leaves in it. If you look over here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can see 6 trees from right here that are completely dead. They've got no greenage on it at all. Those trees need to come down and be used for firewood before they come down on their own and lay and rot on the ground. Next thing I want to talk about is this giant stump here. Get your thoughts on how I should bring this sucker down. And you guys know what kind of equipment I have. I don't want to rent an excavator for this. I want to do it with what I have. It's 33 inches up here where I cut it off. If I was to remove this with the stump grinder, you've got like a 7 or 8 foot grind area for this stump. It's massive, and then it'd still really be there. I'm thinking about taking it out completely, and I guess that would be a matter of digging it out with the backhoe like I normally would, and then once I get it, all the roots broke, try to force it out with the skid steer. I also have the tree puller, which obviously isn't going to pull this, but it could be used to break these roots out. Or I could cut it low and just leave it here or grind it out. I think I'm going to dig it out. Let me know what you guys think. You think it's time to retire these? Maybe they've seen better days. Okay, so I feel like this was a good productive day. See, the tree is gone. We still have these piles here. And if you haven't seen what's going on with those, I did a mulch haul off job. All this mulch was basically like carpeting this property. And I thought, you know, I'd like to have that carpeted mulch on my wood yard, so I don't have to mow around the wood chunks if they sit there a while. And I've debated back and forth if that was a good idea, but I've committed to doing it. So we're gonna see how it turns out. All of the wood I have in this area is now piled up here behind the splitter. I've got a couple more wood piles down at the other side of the property, and I've got another tree down way down here that needs dealt with. We're gonna do a lot of firewood this fall and winter. This pile, I'd say, is still gonna be burning this time tomorrow. It's burning hot, and it's a deep pile of wood here. That thing's gonna burn forever, but I could go ahead and spread that mulch, but I think I'm gonna save that for another day. I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links on the screen to more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.